The Federation of African Law Students will host their first edition of the most prestigious Moot Court competition. The competition will focus on human rights issues and brings together law students from FELAS, the UNAM School of Law and the Namibia University of Science and Technology. To elaborate further on this, we're now joined by Nelau Johannes, who is the Head of Marketing and Liaison Officer at the Federation of African Law Students. Nelau, good evening and thank you so much for joining us.
Good evening, Nina. Thank you so much for having me.
Just to start with, perhaps you can give us just a bit of a background on FELAS and, of course, the Federation's aims and objectives.
Yeah, FELAS is an African unifying body of law students that was aimed at helping African law students come together to collaborate and connect and network in different ways to fix African problems, or at least learn from each other. For example, in different areas like Lokestande, where South Africa, Kenya, and Zimbabwe are better off than Namibia, it was meant to create a unifying network or movement channeling communication for young African students, young African professionals, to really come together and brace themselves to find a new approach to fixing African problems and building a better African legal system.
Mm-hmm. Talk to us about the history, Nelau, of moot courts and, of course, what platforms such as these aim to achieve.
Yeah. I think the history of moot courting, I think it's more so a place, was a space that was created historically to give law students a practical experience in court proceedings. So in this case, the significance of it is it allows young law students, especially in the current situation of Namibia, to have real life practical experience with legal research, oral advocacy, and just the skills that come with actively participating in court proceedings. These are very important ways of doing it because, as you'll find, whatever is in theory does not necessarily mean it's the same thing that's done in practice. So this usually tests or tries to see how far above or below students are doing in terms of really understanding the law in relation to litigation.
Yeah. And now take us through the format of the competition. How exactly will it work?
Okay. The formatting will be really strict, I guess, in this case, because of the dignitaries that we've invited, but specifically so and strategically so because we wanted it to actually be as real life court proceedings as possible. So what will happen is it will basically be like you're in a court proceeding, especially when the participants start mooting. We'll have the bench of 5 judges, as with this, inspired by the Supreme Court proceedings. Then we'll have teams of 2. One is a junior counsel, another is a senior counsel. Then they would also be providing, or they're currently already providing, legal briefs prior, where judges now study their heads of arguments. They have a specific case that was catered to them. We specifically focused, as you've expressed before, on human rights and administrative law because we wanted it to cater to as many different levels of law students, whether it was first year, second year, or third year, they would be able to understand those fields of law. But those are really just the structures, and the briefings usually would need to be given prior. We've had a preliminary round on Saturday, which went amazing, and then on Wednesday we have a semi-finals, and then the finals will be on Friday, which will be now the one that's open to the public to attend.
And of course, as I mentioned earlier, the focus will be on human rights. What exactly about human rights would you like to address through this competition?
Okay, what exactly about human rights? I think for now, because of the fact that participants are busy making heads of arguments, I can't express those specifics on what we want to expect because that's what they will be answering in the scenario. But it will be focusing on human rights and somewhat of administrative law. But because of now the nature of what they will be doing, what I'll say here will probably be an answer for them to better their arguments.
Nelau, thank you so much. Your final remarks?
No, I would hope that everyone could attend because we opened it up to the public as an attempt to really give access to justice, as a means to really communicate something that allows for young and older people to connect, and with the presence of dignitaries like the Chief Justice and the Minister of Justice and judges from the to the Chief Legal Officer from the Attorney General's office. It would be such a great platform for people to connect, to learn, and most importantly, to empower the young or the future leaders of Namibia in the legal field. So come one, come all. It will be happening on the 6th of October, this coming Friday, at PK1 on UNAM grounds. From 4:30 to 8:30. Sorry.
No problem. Is there any way for the public to be able to view this as well?
Currently, no, but we are attempting to try and find a way to live stream because it seems like it's something that we've been asked to attempt to do. We are looking into it. I can't promise, but definitely that's something that we are definitely looking into providing, as we would like to have it as accessible as possible. But yeah, yes, no, currently no.
Well, Nela, thank you so much for your time. All the best, and it was lovely speaking to you.
Thank you so much, Lina. Thank you for having me as well.
That was Nela Johannes speaking to us, the head of marketing and liaison officer at the Federation of African Law Students, talking to us about the Moot Court competition, the first edition that they'll be hosting in collaboration with UNAM and NUST. We'll be right back shortly, and we speak on health matters.